So what's up guys? So today we have this Nintendo Switch OLED that has a broken charging port. This is actually the second Switch the customer dropped off to get fixed. The first one was the Switch V2, the one of the originals, and I fixed that for him. And his other son has this one, the OLED one, and also the same thing happened. The charging port broke. What happens is when you put it in and out, even though the Type-C charging port supports both directions, when you move it in and out constantly, the pins do over time bend, they move around, and one pin touches the other, causing it to stop working. So we're gonna do this repair, we're gonna replace this port, and let's get into it. Now, the only things you need for this repair is a driver, a Phillips bit, and a tri-wing. So the first thing, obviously, you gotta take these controls off before starting on any Switch repair, and check if there's a game in it, and there is. Let's see what we got. Super Mario Kart Deluxe 8. I never played this game. I know how it is. I'm sure it's fun. Now there's gonna be 2 screws on the bottom, 1 screw on top. I'm gonna take these both out. Gonna take this screw on the side out as well. This one here too. Two tri-wing screws in the bottom. Now I've done probably this is my maybe 5th or 6th Switch OLED charging port that I've done. I guess it's just as common as the first Switch that's come out, a Switch Lite. These charging ports are like the #1 breaking point on these Switches. I don't get many screens a lot, digitizers, but the OLED screens on the Switch are pretty expensive to replace. I haven't gotten one yet, but I've replaced Switch LCDs on the first version and the Switch Lite, and the digitizers as well. Other issues with these things are like no power. There's a chip that controls charging, the M92 chip, which is on the first version would go faulty a lot. So I've done those a few times. That's basically it. I've had a few that I couldn't fix. They've had like no power, some short on the board, causing it not to turn on. It's a little more advanced, but some things I can't really, I can't fix everything. You win some, you lose some. Honestly, the most tedious part of this whole repair is taking everything apart and making sure everything goes back in the way exactly as it. These screws that come out of this back plating are different sizes, so make sure when you take them out, they are organized in a way you know where they go back in. And the back plating comes off. What do we got here? Let's see, you got the battery connector, got the SD card reader, this is the heatsink, a little bit of a putty to keep it cool. You got the fan, everything's pretty compact. Alright, so this should just come out. It's a connector, it's a subboard connected into the main board. Oh no, there's a screw here. Yeah, there's one screw here. Then we're gonna take off the heatsink. There's 3 screws holding that in. Just take that out. Next, we're gonna take out all the board screws. There's a few of them. Got one here, one there, 2 charging port screws. There's another board screw here. The board screws are shorter, so be careful when you put those screws back in, and it's not a long screw like this. Definitely a different size. Like the 2 screws holding the charging port in are longer than the board screw. So if you put the screw in the wrong hole and you start tightening it, it's gonna go further down when it shouldn't, and possibly go through either the screen or the housing. All right, now I'm gonna start disconnecting all the cables. I like using a tweezer. Sometimes I can't use my fingernail. Definitely helps using a tweezer. I've had a few charging ports that come in that has no problem charging, but it won't connect to the dock on the TV, so like it's not displaying anything. So looking closely after a switch came in with the same that issue, it was a pin in the port that was bent, and that pin makes a data connection to the TV, displaying the output. And so in those cases, the port would have to be replaced as well, even though it charges fine. This is the LCD cable right here. All right, you got the speaker. This is very fragile. You want to use a tweezer to take it out. Just wiggle it. This is gonna go hard. Let's see. I'm gonna try to grab from the sides and wiggle it out like that. Same thing for this one. There's two of them. Wiggle it like that. All right. And then the last thing is I should take the battery out. Oh, the switch is dead anyway, but this should have been the first thing. Now that was probably the hardest part of it. The soldering part is pretty straightforward if you know how to solder. The only thing is there's 2 rows of pins, and both rows have to be in connection. There's an inner side. I'll show you when we get on the soldering station. I'll show you what that looks like. So let's go. Let's head over there. All right, this is my soldering station. I try to keep it clean as possible, but as you can see, it's a little bit of a mess. A lot of stuff goes on this mat, and some real work gets done on this. It being the Switch OLED port that we're about to do. So there's a metal shield on this that comes off. It's not soldered on, you can just take it off. It's like clipped in, see? That is, I'm gonna show you under the scope. That is the first set of rows of pins that are exposed that you can see, but there's another set underneath. And I'll show you with the new one. So if you can take a look, there's another set of rows underneath right there, and those have to make contact. You can't see them visibly, but the job has to be done to a point where it has to be so good that it is going to make connection. I've had that issue where that set hasn't made contact, and most likely the port won't work. So there's preparations that we have to do that make it a little easier, and we'll get into that. My little soldering station here, we got my microscope, we got my Hecko soldering iron, and then we got the quick 861 DW hot air station. Best station I've had. I've had this almost for 5 years now. It's never let me down, consistent heat. Definitely get one if you're thinking about it. A little pricey, but definitely worth the money. We're gonna use hot air to take it off. That's the best way to take these ports off. If you don't use a soldering iron at all, with hot air, just come right off. I'm gonna set it to about, I'm gonna do 400, and I'm gonna do like about 80 airflow, and about put 390 heat. I like putting a little bit of flux on the pins itself, and not the solder joints. Make sure that the pins come off, good without ripping. I'm gonna start heating from the bottom in a circular motion, and we're gonna do that for about like a minute and a half. You don't want to pull on it. You want to visibly see that the solder is melting, and then just lightly take it up. You want to nudge it a little bit. You can tell if it's loose or not. And it's not loose yet. Alright, let's see what we got under the scope. So I want to show you guys the issue with the old one, if I can get it good. You see? One pin is bent all the way to the back, and one pin is crossed over. So you can see the issue there. The other side looks good, but it's just this one side that's messed up. So we're gonna just reflow these solder pins. Just clean up the old flux that I use. Nice and clean. For this, what what I like to do, I like to tin these pins before I put the port on. It just ensures that the second row of pins that I can't see when the port goes on are making connection with the board and the solder on the board. So it's definitely a good way of repairing it, or making sure that it goes smooth. And it does make that connection. I'm just gonna touch each one. Now we're ready to put it on. I wish I had a holder. That's the next thing I'm gonna buy, is a board holder. I'm tired of using my weighted solder to hold boards on the edge. Bead of flux right on the pins only. Now you don't want to put the port and then heat, because the plastic inside the port will melt. It does melt pretty easily and it will mess up the port. So you want to make sure you melt the solder first. You see it melting and then put it. It's up to another 20 degrees. Now it's at 412. These boards take a lot of heat, so you don't have to worry about that. Unless you're blasting it with over 500 degrees Celsius, then I'd be worried. Alright, you want to heat up just for a little more, press it down, and hold it there while the solder cools. And that's it. Alright, now we're done. We're going to check the pins, make sure they are properly soldered. As you can see, soldered pin. Let's see. I'm gonna do a wiggle test. I like doing a wiggle. No, hold on. I'll show you guys. Alright. I like wiggling each pin to make sure it's soldered in place. There we have it. That's it. Alright, now we're gonna check to see if it charges before fully putting it back together. I didn't put any of the screws in. I just want to make sure it is charging before we close it up. Alright, let's see. Alright, so we're going to test the new port before putting everything back in. I just put only the important components to turn it on: the battery, the screen cable, the fan. So we're going to see and test it now. Let's hit the power button. And it's not charging. Should be a lightning bolt. It's not charging at all. Alright, this is stating it's a different issue, because I'm pretty sure I did the soldering job right on the charging port. You know, I was pretty thorough with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in a battery. We're going to see if it just turns on, and we'll go from there. Alright. I got a battery here. So let's see. Okay. Alright, so it's showing an error. It's not booting. This is indicating a different issue now. So this error code right here, I've seen it before. This is most likely, this has to do with a charging chip called the M92. It's a charging circuit chip that controls charging. And what most likely happened, why it's showing this, is because when the pins broke, they bridged together, and they're not supposed to touch inside, at least. So when they cross each other, it shorted the chip, and that's one of the most common things on switches. I've seen it on the OLED switch. I've seen it on the regular switch as well. So we're gonna go and replace this chip, and we'll see if that fixes the issue. So it looks like you can read it. M92 T36. A couple numbers after that. So the chip is not too hard to replace. It does have a lot of legs on each each side, so those definitely have to be soldered properly. I'm going to evenly to spread out the heat so it doesn't heat up just one part. We got the new chip. We got the new chip here. Just clean the board a little bit for extra flux. I don't want to let it sit on the board. Just clean this up as good as possible. Alright, so we finally got the switch to charge after replacing the chip about almost 3 times. I almost gave up at one point, but I just kept through it, tried it again, and it ended up working. The error code was a faulty chip, and you know, sometimes you don't give up on some of these repairs. Because at one point I put the whole thing back together and told the customer to come pick it up because, you know, it just wasn't working out. So I ended up ordering the chip from a different supplier.